Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the Wrestle Plug YouTube channel. Survivor Series 2020 predictions. I'm Aeron and Kyle. Joining me is the Maple Leaf Magician, Kyle Wilkinson.
See, I don't need a longer introduction than that, because that's it. That's all I need right there. That's me. That's who I am now.
Hookers with brooms. That's what you need, mate. Hookers with brooms.
I bet you those women can still clean up better than the cleaner, because he's not good.
I'm fairly sure they're Jacksonville Jaguar cheerleaders, which is okay, to be fair. They're beautiful women. Yeah, Survivor Series 2020. It's been a little bit of a change-up, obviously, on Raw, rather briefly, just to quickly cover that before we jump into the predictions. Drew McIntyre has regained the WWE Championship by beating Randy Orton in Raw's main event. Good main event. Are you excited about the idea of Drew McIntyre being swapped in for Randy Orton, or would you prefer to see Orton versus Roman Reigns?
I mean, we haven't seen a lot of Orton and Reigns, to be fair, but I think we should just assume this because for the last 3 years, they've always changed one title just before Survivor Series. When you think back on it, Styles beat Jinder. I'm sorry to bring it up, but it did happen. I'm sorry. And then the year after that, Bryan beat Styles. So I think we should have just expected it. But I'm still really excited for Drew and Roman because they have wrestled a lot before, but the face-heel dynamic is now switched. Roman's on the run of his career. I don't think Drew's ever been more over. Don't know why he lost the title to begin with, but I think this matchup, it's got a big match feel to it, and that's something I haven't felt from WWE in a little while.
Yeah, I mean, rather briefly, we'll cover it on State of Wrestling Address a little bit, which we'll record probably tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal the way they've booked it, but I have no problem with Drew McIntyre being champion. It's one of those things where if they had done this and given the belt to somebody else, I probably would have been a lot more pissed off, but very excited about Drew McIntyre having a second reign. Just hope that it's actually going to be meaningful and it wasn't just done to shift onto this main event, because then it would just kind of all feel a little bit lazy. And I'm sure Orton will be coming once again for another slice of the WWE title. That being said, Survivor Series does look like a good card. It is this Sunday. We'll be covering it on the podcast. Right, let's start with the Battle of the Mid-Card Champions. The United States Champion Bobby Lashley takes on the Intercontinental Champion from SmackDown, of course, the best of the best, in the mid-card battle. This is going to be interesting because the only thing that this rivalry really has behind it is that god-awful sister segment that we saw a while back. But who do you think is going to win out of the mid-card champions battle, considering that Lashley will most likely have the Hurt Business in his corner?
I mean, I adore Sami Zayn. I still think his character is one of the best, but I mean, it's got to be Lashley, right? He's riding this huge wave of momentum. The Hurt Business is featured predominantly on Raw every week. They've beat Retribution 17,204 times. So they're riding
like on Raw. They didn't.
Momentum.
Mustafa Ali with a cheeky roll up on Matt Riddle.
I believe his name is just a Riddle now. I don't know.
You got to love WWE's punishment of people who have been alleged offenders for whatever reason. It's like, well, we could punish you with real things, or we could just have you chop out on a fictional TV show.
It's insane. But I think Lashley's going to take this one. Like he's the bigger guy, the stronger guy. He's got the momentum from the Hurt Business. And I mean, I don't think Sami will get hurt in the loss because he's already so low. It doesn't matter.
He might legitimately get hurt if Bobby Lashley has his way. This is the match that I don't care about. So I wouldn't be surprised if it actually ends up being quite good. I'd be all in favour of sticking this on the buy and making the pay-per-view even shorter, making it real, impactful and quick-fire, a bit like Hell in a Cell was in a way. I don't want to see riffraff thrown in at the last minute. Wouldn't surprise me if Retribution gets involved and Sami Zayn gets a win, and that kind of continues that Hurt Business versus Retribution dynamic. So, do you know what? I'll go out on a limb and say Sami Zayn gets a sneaky win here because WWE has proven that it doesn't really give a shit about Bobby Lashley, which is a shame. I know people are going to be like, well, he's United States Champion. I was like, that doesn't really mean anything, does it? Got to say as well, as a quick hot take, I actually think the United States Championship is the best looking belt on the main roster. I really like it.
It is really nice. Now that I'm seeing it, it does look really, really nice.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Maybe I still think the United Kingdom Championship is the best overall in the entire WWE umbrella. But for now, the United States Championship on the main roster, it looks really good because especially in comparison to the old one, it hadn't been changed since Eddie won it in 2003, so it needed a revamp, and this one's really nice.
Yeah, not everybody likes change. Right, up next is the Women's Championship of Championship matches, but it's not actually for a Women's Championship. It's the best of the best, though. I think I'm right in saying there are no belts at all on the line here. It's purely about pride. It's the one night of the year where Raw and SmackDown get together. Sasha Banks.
Brand supremacy.
I know, right? Sasha Banks. Well, it would be brand supremacy if NXT was here. I'm kind of gutted NXT isn't here because that really made last year. But someone made the argument as well that, oh, well, obviously they won't have NXT because that would be in COVID breaking protocol and there would be too many people around. Yeah, because a 5-on-5 Survivor Series match doesn't already have too many people around as it is. You know, if you're going to burn, then you may as well burn with extra wood. That's how I'm looking at it.
Burn bright.
Sasha Banks, the SmackDown Women's Champion, will face Asuka, everyone's favorite Empress, the Raw Women's Champion. I expect this to be just as good as their previous encounters. I think this is one of the best and most well-hidden rivalries. People have forgotten about this rivalry because of what happened with, you know, all that great histrionics between Bayley and Sasha Banks. And Asuka didn't get lost in the shuffle, but she was kind of part of that. So when people think of the best women's rivalries of this year, they might overlook this one, but I expect this to be a really high quality affair. All of their matches they've had so far, whether that be on main roster TV or on pay-per-view, have been lights out. So very excited about this match, actually. I think this is one of 3 incredibly strong matches on this card.
And it's weird now because Sasha's face, so it's definitely a face-on-face encounter, which are always easier to pull off than heel versus heel.
I smell shenanigans.
Yeah, I think has Asuka been on TV lately?
Like, she screamed at the camera for about 30 seconds on this week's Raw.
Because I don't think I've seen her wrestle in a while.
No, maybe she's being rested. I don't know, or maybe they wanted to. It does feel like Asuka has kind of been neglected a little bit on TV in favor of the SmackDown and Raw Women's Survivor Series angle. You know, obviously on Raw especially, they seem to be putting a lot of time into Lana and not that much time into Asuka. I know people are kicking off about that, but if I'm looking at it from a positive aspect, which is really surprising for anyone who knows me, ultimately, Asuka doesn't really need that much time to be effective. She can immediately come on the screen and I think, cool, there's the superstar. There's, you know, a marquee talent. Someone like Lana needs the TV time, you know? Even Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, who I absolutely adore. I know I'm in the minority there, especially when it comes to Nia Jax. But I personally think that, you know, they probably need more time to build their credibility and build their on-screen, you know, talents. Whereas Asuka is kind of already there. Plus, she's the champion. So, you know, it's kind of nice. I suppose maybe they're going down the route of a Brock Lesnar where they're like, well, you don't need to see the champion every week. And you certainly don't need to see them wrestle every week. So it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't diminish it for me. Obviously, as an Asuka fan, I want to see her every week. But you know, it's nowhere near as bad as, you know, the AEW Women's Champion, is it? Let's be honest.
I don't even remember who that is right now. I'm sorry. I think I'm
drawing a blank. The first for Hikaru Shida is ridiculous. Don't try.
I was trying to make a point. I was just trying to emphasize.
But it's falsified, sir. It's a fabrication. It's a lie.
I'm lying to you all.
It's a lie.
I would like to see, as much as I love both these women, and Asuka has definitely been the MVP of WWE overall since the outbreak. Yeah. She's made everything just so incredible, so funny. Even her taking place in the Otis trial, just screaming a whole bunch for incoherently. And Teddy's long, I got it all, playa. I'm like, brilliant. But I'd like to see a Sasha win. She's riding high on the momentum of, you know, beating Bayley. And for the last 2 weeks, she's got beat down by Carmella, who has come back as Emelina, I guess. I guess that's kind of what it seems to me.
Yeah.
So I'd kind of like to see Sasha get a bit of like that momentum back, but at the same time, I want to see Asuka win too because I think she deserves it. She's been incredible. I think I'm gonna go with Asuka on this one. But it's definitely a hard one to pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Asuka because I expect Bayley to interfere. If she's around, obviously. I don't know. Because there's still a spot available on the SmackDown women's team. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, surely like, surely Bayley's going to take that spot, but I don't know. I won't lie to you. I've been struggling to keep up with SmackDown as well as I have Raw and stuff, simply because it's earlier in the week, and when the weekend comes in, there's a lot of work for me. I actually do most of my work on the weekends now, so it's hard for me to catch up with SmackDown. Obviously, I'll watch the highlights and stuff like that, but for me, I don't see a clean finish here, and that's kind of in keeping with a lot of their matches. One thing I do expect, however, is a really good physical match. These are two women who don't mind kicking lumps out of each other, and I really enjoy that. I think women's wrestling is the best it's ever been. It really has, and I know a lot of people say, well, no duh, evolution, all that sort of stuff, but I genuinely think that the women have increased themselves physically and the power, and they've always been fantastic athletes. It's just a case of a lot of times, particularly in this company, they weren't entitled or given or afforded, should I say, the opportunity to be the way they wanted to be or express themselves athletically, and now they can. And we really are at the height of athleticism. You look at Asuka, who is just transcends. So for me, I think she's better than the majority of men on the roster. Like, this is going to be the first year, I think, for the Wrestle Plug End of Year Awards where we don't have best male wrestler or best female wrestler. It's just best wrestler. I like the idea of the equality there, and frankly, I think that a lot of the women on the rosters, all the way through from Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and beyond, they've all achieved so much, and they've all warranted being, given this kind of spot on the card. This is the kind of match that could main event the show. I'm excited about this match. I'm going to pick Asuka, just because, like I say, shenanigans. There doesn't really seem to be somebody lined up to take on Asuka yet. That being said, Sasha Banks, she's already got, like you say, she's got Carmella on her heels. Bayley obviously is going to be her bitter rival for some time. Wouldn't surprise me if they flipped it now and Bayley possibly wins the Women's Royal Rumble. You never know. Either way, I am quite excited about this match, but I'm going to stick my neck out and say Asuka will win. So we'll go with that. A dream matchup now, or at least in my mind. This is what I actually said I wanted, and we're getting it. Street Profits, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, who won them by getting them swapped, courtesy of Adam Pearce, with the New Day, who are the Raw Tag Team Champions, after successfully, who would have funked it, defending their titles against Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. Anyway. It's a fine match. It's just that they're not serious, are they? You can't take them seriously.
Not yet.
Not yet, no. But I do like the Hurt Business overall. It's a shame, actually. I would have liked to have seen MVP put in that role, actually. That being said, this really is a dream match. Talk about athleticism. And also, it's fantastic because it's two tag teams that represent African American culture, and I think that's really cool. I know people are going to be like, oh, well, you got to make a race thing out of it. I'm not making a race thing out of it. I just think it's fucking awesome that the two best tag teams by far in this company right now, particularly obviously because one of the Usos is injured. I just think that this match has so much gravitas to it, and these are two wildly charismatic, wildly athletic tag teams. Hard to pick a winner. For me, I would have the Street Profits win, because I feel like they'll benefit from that just a little bit more. I don't think it hurts the New Day that much. Both teams have been on an absolute tear. I think New Day especially have been putting down. One thing I like about New Day is they've already been kind of established as, the regular champions. You know how on every main roster show, there's always one champion, which is kind of always there. When Brock Lesnar, for instance, was always fucking off with the Universal belt, you always had the IC champion there, and that seemed to be a very big focal point. And right now, the tag team titles, they're being defended regularly on Raw. They feel like a big deal. The New Day carries so much gravitas, and also now we're getting to enjoy the benefits of Kofi Kingston's WWE title run in retrospect, because now what we're seeing is that those belts have even more credibility because the WWE champion is holding them, but he is a legitimate tag team wrestler as well, which is fantastic. Kofi Kingston's actually got something now that a lot of guys don't have. He's not shoehorned into a category. He can be either. If he goes into a singles match, you can always say, well, this was a guy who was WWE champion for 6 months. So that works well. And obviously, Xavier Woods and Montez Ford on their respective teams are so insanely good on the stick. They really are two of the best mic workers in the world. I think personally that Montez Ford is WWE champion in the making. I think he could be the marquee talent. And I'll, to be honest, even Angelo Dawkins for me has come along tenfold from what he used to be. But I'm going to pick the Street Profits because I feel like they deserve it more. Do you know what? The only downside to this is we haven't really had enough interaction. I know because they're on different shows. I would have loved to have seen like weeks and weeks of promos between these two teams. You know what they did with the Viking Raiders? And
Mhm.
and the Street Profits, where they would, how cool would it have been if you had the New Day doing that instead? Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the Viking Raiders, and we almost got to see a side of them that we didn't really think was possible with all that humor. But I would have loved to have seen the New Day in that spot, and the New Day and the Street Profits having cinematic-esque nonsense every week in competition. So, nonetheless, this should be a fantastic wrestling match. This is, for me, my favorite match. Like, this is the match I'm most excited about. I don't think it'll steal the show, but I do expect this to be the best match overall.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I'm also going with the Street Profits, and pretty much for the same reason. The New Day are so established. They're like, what, 8-time champs now? Something
New
like that.
Day? Yeah.
Like, they're already so good. I've seen a bit of the interaction between the Street Profits and Big E, because, Big E's still technically a part of the New Day.
He's been holding it down on SmackDown.
Yeah, so that I like you, I haven't been watching SmackDown a lot. I've been working, or I've been a little sick lately, so it just hasn't been easy. But I've still seen like there's still some interaction, and Montez Ford is just a charismatic enigma, for lack of a better term. Sorry, Jeff Hardy, but I'm rolling with this right now. There's just something so magnetic about him, and when he wants to smoke, I want the smoke, and I don't even know what that means, but I want it. Whatever's in that cup, I want it.
Do you not know what it means? Do you not?
No, of course not.
Fair enough. Well, are we sticking to the YouTube guidelines very strictly, obviously?
Yes, of course. But yeah, Street Profits for the win here. Doesn't hurt the New Day at all. And I mean, putting the Street Profits over just helps also establish them. It gives them more of that credibility, which I think they've been building a lot of. And I'm just excited to see the match. And definitely, I think I'm with you again also, because we tend to agree a lot. Definitely best match, I think, wrestling wise, other than I think Asuka and Sasha could obviously be, I think it's between these two. Probably interchangeable between spots 1 and 2. I'm sure we'll see after Sunday. But this one definitely, just with the guys involved, my excitement level's way up here.
Yeah, no question. Montez Ford as well, best facials in the business right now. I think he's just incredible. His eyes are amazing alone. Like, they're just so. He's such an expressive human being. He's fucking awesome. I love the guy.
No one shakes the ropes like him. I'm telling you. Batista had a good shake rope. It was all right, but I'm pretty sure Montez Ford, rips his shoulder out every time he does it.
We just like completely ignoring Ultimate Warrior.
Yep.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, we're not going to pretend that we're all of a sudden huge fans of him like WWE did. Just saying. Time for a little bit of Survivor Series action, Survivor Series matchups. I'm not going to say traditional, right? Because it's not 4 versus 4, and that is traditional. And you would think of all the pay-per-views, especially with The Undertaker, this being kind of like a celebration of his career on the flip side of things, that they would probably have a 4-on-4 matchup. But that being said, it should still be a good format. And I have no problem with 5 versus 5. It's just, don't call it traditional. It annoys me. SmackDown women's team versus Raw women's team. And as you can probably see from the graphic behind me, they're struggling to make up the numbers on SmackDown right now. 2 spots still available, actually. No idea who those are going to right now. I think if she's ready to go, I could see maybe Charlotte Flair being put in this position, but I'm not sure if she's a Raw or a SmackDown talent right now. I don't know who else really. But that being said, a lot of the storyline here has predominantly been around the Raw women's team. In fact, the Raw Survivor Series teams, men's and women, have been putting in an astonishing amount of work on their programs to be the, for lack of a better term, the more sports entertainment based parts of the brand. And they've put in a lot of time, not only just wrestling, but also storyline. And I think it's actually reaped dividends, particularly on the men's side, which we're about to discuss. But from this perspective, this is a pick-em. Right now, if you look at that SmackDown women's team, it is very credible. That's the one thing I do like. I know it's only 3 women, but all 3 of those women feel like stars to me. I feel like the only thing that I'm really disappointed in is Liv Morgan, for me, should have been push towards becoming a predominant women's champion by now. That it felt like they were going in that direction, and for some reason they just pulled her out of it again and put her back with Ruby Riott, which is fine. I understand that with the women's tag team division the way it is, but you know, you've got a credible women's tag team on both sides. Obviously, the women's tag team champions on Raw. You've got you've got the Riot Squad on the other side of things, and obviously Bianca Belair is one of the hottest prospects in terms of athleticism. The rest of the Raw team disappoints me, I have to be honest. The storyline has been fine. I know you're loving the streak. How cool would it be if the streaks collided and The Undertaker put Lana through the announce table at this Survivor Series? I'd pop my nuts off for that. I want that. Give me what I want. I want that. But I look at, like, I love Peyton Royce, obviously. Come on. Peyton Royce. Come on. You know, Peyton Royce, Lacey Evans, not only have they been shoehorned in quite late because Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose aren't available for this match, or there's an injury, I'm not entirely sure. Don't care about dirt sheets, so, you know, feel free to go off in the comments, but I'm not that bothered. I just feel that the Raw tag team, the Raw women's team, should I say, doesn't really feel like a proper team. It's just a mishmash of stories that have been blasted in. So with everything that's been going on and the rage that Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax have displayed, just as a complete whim, I'm going to pick the SmackDown women's team.
See, I still got to stick with the Raw one because I still think Lana is going to be sole survivor. I think she's going to get put through I said this on the last show. Lana's going to get put through the table right at the start. She's going to be out for the entire match. I'm assuming Shayna and I would be the final two because everyone's going to forget about Lana, and they'll get cleaned up by whoever's left on SmackDown. I could see Bianca getting a big pin on one of the two. I think that'd be really good. I'm trying to think who's on SmackDown. Like Billie Kay's on SmackDown. I could see her making that team, and then her and Peyton Royce having some sort of weird interaction. I don't care about Natalia, and then Zelina Vega's been fired, so I don't know who else is left on SmackDown.
She was probably meant to be on this team, wasn't she? I imagine you got to think that was going to be part of it.
So
I'd say hooray, obviously very sarcastically. I'm not happy about Zelina Vega being removed from my TV screen because she is fire in every sense. No, okay, yeah, no. Do you know what? I remember you saying, like, it's just completely slipped my mind, such as my hazy ways at the moment. But yeah, do you know what? I can honestly see.
You can see it, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh
it's
yeah,
it's dumb, but you can see it.
It's Vince McMahon, isn't it? Like Vince McMahon still has a large amount of creative control here, and there is no question that Vince is like, "Do you know what'd be really funny if she got stuck for the announce table, but won because everyone else is shit." Like, thanks, Vince. He's sitting there going, yeah, women's wrestling's great, but we don't want them actually being good. I still want them making me sandwiches because I'm a piece of shit. So yeah, I'm gonna go. Fuck it. I'll stick with my convictions. I'll go with the SmackDown Women's team, but I thoroughly expect your predictions to come true. Sadly. Although the announce table thing should be quite. In what has been arguably the most underappreciated build to a Survivor Series match I've ever seen, Raw men's team, SmackDown men's team, but there's so many pieces at play here, and most of it for me is all about the men's team, which is why I'm so excited. No idea why Bray Wyatt is on this graphic, but he is.
I was gonna say, should it be Matt Riddle?
It should be. Maybe they know something that I don't. Maybe. No idea. Maybe you heard it here first. I have no idea. Full disclosure, I was looking for all the graphics. For some reason, there seems to be a massive premium on these things. You can't seem to find them, and normally I'm very good at finding them. And so, whatever, this was the best I could get. So, tough tits. So I'm predicting it right now. Matt Riddle gets taken out by Bray Wyatt, and Bray Wyatt will be part of Team Raw, which, by the way, would put Team Raw in an extremely over-the-top position where they already are. Now, that being said, obviously, great parts at play on the SmackDown side of things. Seth Rollins, who's been on an absolute tear, although finally succumbing to this awful Mysterio storyline and losing the big marquee match, so to speak. Jey Uso's been on a massive tear. I'm fascinated by the psychological direction of him because obviously I'm a humongous mark for the Usos in particular. I think they're two of the best wrestlers in the world. And I think Jey Uso is fastly becoming a legitimate singles powerhouse. I'm so excited for him. He's just been on fire. I'm just a little bit terrified, actually, that when his brother comes back, they might kind of sacrifice the tag team a little bit in favour of him because he has done so well, which would be a shame. The only person that you're looking at this thing and thinking, can you go away? Is Baron Corbin, and I feel bad for him.
Right?
Leave Baron alone. Like I'm gonna stick up for Baron because the one thing I will say is he's really good on the stick. He's very good at being. Baron Corbin is for me 15 years too late in wrestling because his character would have been phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal around the Attitude Era point. Imagine the amount of heat he would have got being brought down to the ring like some sort of pauper king, you know, wearing all that leather and that fur and stuff. It would have been absolutely phenomenal. I would have loved it. And I still do, to be fair. I like my old school traditional heels, and I think Baron Corbin does a good job because, you know, people are like, oh, it's actually go away heat. It was like, yeah, but you're still watching him. If it was go away heat, you would turn the TV off or leave while he's on the screen, and nobody's doing that. So he's still doing a job. Plus, they got Kevin Owens on this team, who is, you know, wildly charismatic, and I know you're
my boy.
Off. Yeah, I know your boy, your Canadian boy.
He's actually going to be guest commentating on NXT next week, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, Wade Barrett's not going to be there, and Kevin Owens is filling in.
War Games. Kevin Owens returns for another crack at War Games. You heard that here first as well. But I gotta say, I've loved Raw lately, and I have loved Raw particularly because of AJ Styles and the team captain nonsense. Skippy. Go on, Skipper.
What do we got? We got Skipper. We got Broly. We got was it Fireface? I think is what he called Sheamus.
I don't want to give Matt Riddle too much love on this show, if I'm being honest.
No.
And
but,
also, I never liked Matt Riddle, and that was before he became a disgraceful prick, according to allegations, allegedly.
Yeah, I don't remember what he called Strowman, but I don't care.
No idea.
Strowman, and I don't care.
I think Strowman just basically shut him up before he had a chance to speak, because he was like, "I'll kill you because I am large and I will destroy things." But you know, on paper, the Raw team should be running over him. Because just look at the size of him, apart from AJ. Especially if Bray Wyatt gets stuck in here instead of Riddle. By the way, if Bray Wyatt...
It better not be the Fiend. It better be Bray Wyatt. I just want him to come... I don't want the Fiend.
Well,
I don't want the Fiend.
Then you know definitely that Raw's team will win because there is no way the Fiend is going to job out to a bunch of guys from a different brand. That's just not happening.
I just want Bray Wyatt to come out just smiling and like trying to make friends. I mean, he's already made friends with Seth and Kevin. He's got Jay, Baron, and whoever the hell else makes it. He needs more friends for the Funhouse, dude.
No. Just no. No, I want the Fiend. Fuck you. I don't want weird Mr. Rogers Bray Wyatt, who is fine, but whatever. Like, and also, I don't want him wrestling as Mr. Rogers. I don't like that. I get the whole schizophrenic angle and everything that goes with it, but I'm all in for the Fiend, man. That's where the money's at. Although, I will say one thing. Seeing Alexa Bliss casually strolling across the barrier in ridiculously cute dungarees and hilarious Harley Quinn makeup and all the feels, all of them. All the feels. Be quite cool as well. She was at ringside during this match. By the way, just as a complete flip aside, when she just rose her head over the barrier and did the whole Vince McMahon from WrestleMania 19 or whatever it was, like just gold. Absolute gold. I love that. That was fucking amazing. Anyway, I'm not here to completely destroy myself over Alexa Bliss. I am going to pick the Raw team. I think that there is, you know, they've really built up this whole, there's dissension in the ranks. But I also believe that this will be the most entertaining match, much like last year's was, obviously with Keith Lee and Roman Reigns coming down to the final two, that really fantastic moment, you know, seeing the big marquee talent and the huge rising star that was Keith Lee. And I expect this to kind of be in a similar vein, a high impact smash mouth affair. Could be absolutely fantastic. I'll tell you who would be a really good addition to the SmackDown team if they could get him, Volta.
Oh.
But he's not a SmackDown talent. He's an NXT boy. But I just like the idea of him being brought in as a ringer for the night and Volta going toe-to-toe again with Braun Strowman. Anyway, yeah. Meaty Hoss alert! But yeah, I've got to pick Team Raw. It's full of meaty hosses. And as we all know, Aaron Nix loves himself some meaty hoss. And just to remind everyone out there that you can buy your Make America Hoss Again t-shirt available at prowrestlingtees.com/WrestlePlug. Carl Wilkinson, who we got in the battle of men's Survivor Series teams?
It's got to be Raw, doesn't it? Just has to be.
Come on,
I feel
Skipper.
I mean, AJ Styles is still my favorite wrestler. Everyone
but
knows
he gets
this.
eliminated first.
Well, yeah, just watch. Just like he's trying to get the team together, just a surprise roll up. Yeah, I can see
Come on,
it.
guys, we can all do so well together. Come on, guys, gets rolled up immediately. Kevin Owens
Yeah.
rolls him up or
Yeah.
stunners him. I reckon Kevin Owens eliminates AJ Styles first. That's what I've got.
Oh, I like that. You're making me pick between my two favorite guys, and that's not fair. But I'm still going to go with Team Raw. They've been featured so heavily, and sure, the SmackDown side's like, hey, have some qualifying matches, but that's about it. Like they're not trying to like gel or mesh or anything. It's just, all right, you won, you're on the team. You won, you're on the team. I feel like my predictions have been really Raw heavy, but for some reason they usually are because Raw is the prominent brand. So whatever, I'm still sticking with Raw. It'll be weird to see Bray Wyatt if that's the direction they're going because I'm still expecting Riddle for now. But I don't know, maybe he gets murdered on Sunday and the Fiend steps in. That's fine. I'm happy with it. Raw either way.
Finally, for all the marbles, I guess, in terms of bragging rights, because there is no actual gold on the line, the brand new, once again, WWE Champion Drew McIntyre faces the Universal Champion Roman Reigns. Now, from a Meaty Hoss perspective, I expect this to be good fun. However, I'll just make this nice, clean, and simple. I can't see Roman Reigns losing a match until he drops the belt, and that is why I have Roman Reigns winning this match. I wouldn't be surprised if Uso's getting to, probably Randy Orton's I don't know, Randy Orton will interfere maybe, just because he's angry that he lost the title on Monday, whatever it may be, however they choose to do it. I hope it's a good match. I really do. I think these two have the capability and the excellence in them to really have a world-class match. This is going to be a really good test for Roman Reigns because Drew McIntyre is a big meaty hoss, which he's used to fighting people like Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt, but he's also a far more credible, shall we say, entertainer than a lot of other guys, particularly Braun Strowman, not necessarily the Fiend. But Drew McIntyre's been doing this for a long time, This is a different kind of test for him. And if he can have a really good match with this guy, particularly if he lets Drew McIntyre lead it a little bit, I expect this to be really good. And I'm hoping I'm going to at least come away from this match thinking that's another progression for Roman Reigns, who I must admit has been fantastic in this new role. I think he's great as the heel. I think that probably wouldn't surprise me booking wise if they put Drew McIntyre in this position because he's far more easier to root for. If you put Orton in this, you've got arguably the two most menacing heels, haven't you, in the company? And although that might be good for Smarks, that's not going to bring in a casual audience. If you're a casual fan, it's not a good storyline, is it? Who's going to destroy the Earth first, Thanos or Doctor Doom? We're not going to watch that as much. We're not going to get as excited about that unless we're super morbid or we're DC fans. Right here. But, this is a good hero-villain dynamic. I mean, who's a bigger hero than the Scottish Highlander himself? Give us a kiss, Drew McIntyre. Should be a good giggle. I expect this to be a good match, but there's no way Roman Reigns is losing this match.
No, I'm with you. I mean, Roman, like I said earlier, he's been on the run of his career right now. I mean, Paul Heyman's definitely helped, but I think Roman's also done a lot of the talking for himself, and he's grown leaps and bounds on the mic, and it's been really, really cool to see.
I actually think he doesn't really need Heyman that much at the moment.
No.
I actually feel that Heyman's kind of become a bit of a quiet vessel that just kind of sits in the background.
Yeah, and just holds the title up for a while. Look at him, right here.
Like, it's funny, actually. I never would have thought that Paul Heyman would be fairly irrelevant in whatever he did. And when he originally was with, no doubt a lot of Paul Heyman's worth here will be behind the scenes, what he's able to direct Roman Reigns to do, the advice that you can parlay into him, when the cameras are off, telling him how to, speak with conviction. So just having him around, I think, is really valuable in that respect. But yeah, I totally agree, mate. I do.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And now, like you said, we've got the classic face versus heel dynamic. This is what wrestling has been built on since it was introduced. There's always been a good guy. There's always been a bad guy. And Drew is the ultimate hero. He's funny. He's handsome as hell. Look at that chiseled face and figure. I mean, they're both pretty handsome gentlemen, I would say, to be fair. And Roman just being this huge dick that's now like corrupting his family. So you want to root for you want to root for Drew. You want to boo Roman. So, I mean, sure, there aren't crowds, but, that piped-in crowd noise will definitely make a huge old difference. Thanks, Kevin Dunn, you fucking cunt. So...
There's the C-bomb.
Did it come from me first? Did you not say it yet? Oh, wow. Cool. So this match is going to be good fun. Definitely the easiest on the card to predict. There's no way Roman's going to lose, not with the role he's been on. But the match itself, just because we know how the match is going to end, doesn't mean we won't enjoy the journey there. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I thoroughly agree. That'll wrap it up for Survivor Series predictions, ladies and gentlemen. If you've got predictions of your own or you disagree with ours, why not leave them in the comments so that we can discuss them? We're going to attempt to stream our review of Survivor Series live on YouTube after the fact. And for anyone who is loyal to the audio format and thinks, I don't really care about this YouTube nonsense or all this shiny video stuff, we will obviously consistently drop an audio podcast as well. And you can get our audio podcasts wherever you find your podcast, Spotify, Podbean, iTunes, honestly, you name it, it's on there. Just search for Wrestle Plug. Make sure you subscribe because that'd be pretty cool too. From myself, Aeron and from Kyle Wilkinson, thank you very much for watching our Survivor Series predictions. If you are up and you are watching it, feel free to tweet along with us at Wrestle Plug. And if you want to even join us and have a little chat with the boys, send us a message because we always have an Xbox Live party open. And for those of you who are saying, I don't have an Xbox, I have a PS4 or a PS5 now. You can still jump in because the app is free on your phone and all you need is a pair of headphones and a bit of spirit. Oh, and also a lack of sensitivity when it comes to swearing because you'll hear a lot of that too. But we are always available. So if you're struggling with things during the pandemic or maybe you just want some company while you're watching a pay-per-view because you don't want to sit there on your Todd because a lot of us have done that in the past, we are here for you. So give us a shout. But like I've said, from myself and Carl, thank you very much for watching and we'll catch you soon for more content from the Wrestle Blog.